certainly for not-for-profits, the idea of going to a luxury, and certainly for charitable organizations, the idea of going to a place that's luxury is so totally inappropriate. I also think that if there's an executive retreat that's designed to plan something or to address a particular issue, et cetera, or there's a cash flow issue, et cetera, spending excessive money on luxury is also inappropriate. And I think most organizations realize that. I think some retreats, though, ones that are designed to reward achievement of sales goals, for example, there's an expectation that it's going to be luxurious, right? There's an expectation that this is actually a reward. It's kind of like part of the compensation, if you will, that gee, if you're in the President's Club, if you've got the diamond, whatever it is, that we're going to take you and quote treat you right with stuff that you normally would never do yourself, right? And that sort of is part of that. So I think that sort of dynamic is part of it. I've certainly seen retreats where I thought the degree of luxury, was a bit over the top. Okay, but most of the time it's not. Okay, you want to stay in a place that's nice. Okay, but how nice does it really need to be? I don't think a large public company doing the retreat at a small town Holiday Inn would really, provide the amenities that would help the retreat, agenda really achieve its objectives. On the other hand, if you're going to be chunks of time in the boardroom or you know, working on something, etc., do you really need to fly all the way around the other end of the world to actually accomplish that objective? So I think nowadays, cash is a big issue. The economics are a big issue, and so people are very concerned about it. But since you mentioned about cost, let me just say these things are incredibly expensive. Incredibly expensive. I think think about how much money does it take to fly everybody to where it is? How about the hotel, right? Generally speaking, everyone gets their own room. We're not doing roommates. We're not putting a cot in rooms. It's not the food, right? Morning, noon, and night in these venues, the food is not cheap, right? Even if you go out, for example, you're going to go out for nicer meals, that sort of helps grease the wheels in a certain sense. There might be some wine involved at the meals, etc. But that's a lot of money. If there's any of these, we called them fun activities earlier, some of those things, they're not cheap, right? It takes time, a tour guide, the transportation to it, whatever it happens to be. Oh yes, everyone's being paid. So what's the cost, the salary cost of everybody who's there? If you've got 8 people or 6 people or 12 people, whatever the number of 20 people, multiply their cost, right? And that's just absolutely huge. Oh, and yes, by the way, business still goes on afterwards. And when they're actually at the retreat, they're not actually at the day job, doing the day job. So there's a big opportunity cost. Okay, that's actually there. The opportunity cost of work not being done or things that are missed or and everything. All of this is massive, and that does not include the external facilitator and trainers that you actually have brought in, which is hopefully what's going to actually make the thing worthwhile. Everything else you have to do because you have to put bums in seats, if you will, right? But to spend all that money and not spend a little bit more on getting a competent external help is also, but that's not cheap either. It's not as expensive as all the other things, but it also costs if you want to get the right people helping you out there. So that's probably about as much about costs. If cost is an issue, there's always ways to slim it down. But I would not ever slim down the reason for actually going there, which is to provide that experiential moment for everyone who's there, the learning, the relationship building, and so on. And it just doesn't happen by magic.